destructive outlets, and that's not always happening.
Okay. And do you have a comment on why anti-Israel sentiment is particularly associated with the progressive left?
I mean, historically, it's a curious thing, because when Israel was first formed in 1948, it had the backing of the patron of the global left, which was the Soviet Union. It was supported unanimously by communist parties throughout the world. They viewed it as a victory of anti-colonialism, of an indigenous people returning to their land, of a small, plucky fighting force of kibbutzniks and Holocaust survivors standing up to far mightier foes. And that's something that plays into the narrative and the mindset of the left. But as time went on in the 1950s and 60s, as the Soviet Union saw that Israel was more westward looking in its outlook, more closely linked to Western democracies in the United States, the Soviet Union turned all of its power, all of its capacity for propaganda, all of its ingrained anti-Semitism, and began spouting this at the United Nations, and that led to the Zionism is Racism Resolution in 1975. It began pumping it out through communist parties throughout the world, and we see the legacy of that in leftist movements today, on campuses, in the cultural space and elsewhere. So it's the kind of endpoint of a long process, but many on the left maybe don't realize how conditioned they are by that long-term propaganda. And some will simply look at the fact that, they view Israel as being more powerful. They like the optics of the Palestinians as being a besieged, beleaguered, smaller power. But people need to look past these shallow things and look at the causes of the conflict and the rights and wrongs of the conflict. And no truly progressive person could look at Hamas, which is a violent jihadist organization which laughs at everything that progressive people hold dear, which just carried out the most horrific atrocities against women and children and civilians. No truly progressive person can support that or remain silent in the face of it. So one of the good things I think that has happened from all of this, one of the few good things, is that a lot of things have been laid bare and made clear to us. Who's with us, who's against us, who's a sincere, moral human being, and who's a complete hypocrite. And in that camp, you would have the Australian Greens, for example, who have bungled and shown confusion and moral fog all the way through to astounding degrees. And it says everything about their ideology, how they view our community, and how compromised they are in their worldview.